In the evening session today, our students are going to make presentations on literature of the Romantics. Let us have a list of the students and their topics on which they are going to make presentations. I'm sharing the screen. Okay, so we'll have first presentation by KHUSHI on Shelley's role as a poet in the Romantic era, followed by KINJAL's presentation on John Keats' concept of negative capability. Good to see we have some presentations on P.B. Shelley and John Keats. In morning, we had lots of on Frankenstein only. And nobody touched upon this unit. Keats, Byron and Shelley remained untouched in the morning session. In the afternoon also, there was only one on Byron, but no presentation on John Keats and P.B. Shelley. So good that here we have two from that unit. Most of the presentations are from Frankenstein and then Pride and Prejudice. And every year, students are more attracted towards these texts rather than the poets. NANDA's will be on science versus nature in Frankenstein. Frankenstein, you'll have to put it in inverted comma. This. That is the novel in which you are studying that, not the character that is Victor Frankenstein. PALLAVI will make it on adaptation across cultures. Pride and Prejudice meets Bollywood in Bride and Prejudice. PRIYANSHIBA will read on Frankenstein, Mary Shelley, modifying Paradise Lost. Colon, placement of colon you have to see. There should be no space before colon, space after colon. RESHMA will read on Ozymandias, the tyranny ruler. RIYA will read on the emergence of psychology and the creation of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. SHRUTI on Mary Shelley as a novelist. TRUPTI on ode poems, or odes only is enough. Ode and critical opinion of John Keats. You can say John Keats, colon, creative and critical opinions. That would be perhaps better. UNNATI, various marriage proposals with personality reflection in Pride and Prejudice. Personality is also key word, so it should be capitalized. And Yashraj will read the last presentation on the influence of Greek mythology on Keats's poetry. Capital P for poetry is necessary. Also check about the apostrophes, how you use apostrophe when the previous word is ending in S. What is the grammar rule for that? That you need to check. Okay, so let us start with the first presentation.
Hello everyone, I am KHUSHI RATHOD. I will discuss the Shelley's role as a poet in the Romantic era. This is my personal information. This is the point to discuss. Introduction. Romantic poetry is the poetry of the Romantic era. Romantic era started end of the 18th century. Romantic poetry contrasts with the neoclassical poetry. Romantic poetry is a product of emotion, sentiments, and the heart. The best known romantic poets are William Blake, S.D. Coleridge, William Wordsworth, John Keats, and P.B. Shelley. First, at P.B. Shelley's information. P.B. Shelley's timeline is 1792 to 1822. Full name is Percy by Shelley. Born 4th August 1792, England. Died 8 July 1822, Italy. He was a poet, essayist, dramatist. Literary period romantic. Genre romantic poetry. Early life. He was born in wealthy family, educated at Eton and Oxford. His publication began with writing poetry while at Eton. First publication was the Gothic novel Zest Rosie, 1810. Other notable work like Queen Mab, At Last or Leon and Cathena, Prometheus Unbound, and Ode to West Wind. Personal life. First marriage, married Harriet Westbrook in 1811, eloped with the Mary Godwin in 1814. Harriet committed suicide in 1816. Then Shelley Mary Shelley in 1816. Death 1822. His poem Ozymandias, published 1818. Second, To a Skylark, published 1820. Third, Ode to the West Wind, published 1820. Adonius, published 1821. One word is too often profound, published 1824. To the Moon, published 1824. As a romantic poet, P.B. Shelley, some major elements in the found the poetry of Shelley's are in six elements: love of nature, imagination, melancholy, supernaturalism, beauty, and idealism. First, love of nature. Nature is a living spirit, the supreme power. Nature is a beautiful and sublime. Nature is a source of inspiration and comfort. Shelley personifies nature, giving it a human-like qualities. Shelley believed in the therapeutic power of the nature. Shelley's many poems like The Cloud, The Skylark, The Moon, Ode to the West Wind, and Dream of the Unknown glorify nature as their central theme. Second, the imagination. Poetry is the manifestation of imagination. Poetry brings disparate elements together harmoniously. Poetry is not about fact or analysis but about the creating imagination that make reality known to the outside world. Shelley believed in the power of imagination to dream up new possibility and to create a better world. According to the Shelley, we don't wish to know fact in poetry, history, people's personal lives, satire. Third, melancholy. Romantics found melancholy a key source of inspiration because it allowed them to explore the depth of human emotion and experience. Shelley, despite his optimism, was not immune to melancholy, and he often portrays himself in his poem as victim of evil and pain. He expressed this in his Ode to the West Wind. This is the Ode to the West Wind, no? Stanza. Fourth, supernaturalism. Supernaturalism theme are common in romantic poetry, and Shelley's work is no expectation. His poem used ghost and spirit to suggest the possibility of world beyond our own. However, the speaker of Hymen to intellectual beauty find no ghost, and the ghosts in Mont Blanc are not real. This suggests that supernatural power are elusive and mysterious. Fifth, beauty. Another romantic element in Shelley's poetry is the beauty. For Shelley, what he referred to as the intellectual beauty is the beauty as an ideal and smaller version of the beauty of nature. When intellectual beauty is always the universe become dim, huge well of tears, vacant and the forlorn. And if the human heart is its temple, then man would become immortal and omniscient according to the spiritual arts. And last, idealism. Idealism is a prominent characteristic, particularly in the second generation romantic poets. There are three categories that describe Shelley's idealism. First, the revolutionary idealism. Second, religious idealism. Third, erotic idealism. In conclusion, Shelley is considered the best romantic poet of his age because of his unique expression of joy, faith, and in humanity and optimism. He was also a quick learner with a brilliant intellect, and his premature death cemented his status as an iconic tragic romantic artist. This is a reference. Thank you. If any question, you ask me.
Kushi, my question is what emotions and feelings are often expressed in Shelley's poetry?
Yes, Raj. Shelley's poetry, emotions like joy, sorrow, and desire of nature, and feelings many express in his poems, social and political. One like poem is the Prometheus Unbound. This poetry is to express and feeling social.
Khushi, can you name one of the supernatural or mysterious element in Shelley's work except the character of Frankenstein?
Yes, Unnati. Mary Shelley's work Frankenstein, one character, Captain Walton, in ship, in many supernatural and mysterious atmosphere in the ship, uh, and many supernatural and mysterious elemental in the novel you see, and in the novel Frankenstein, many elements, supernatural and mysterious, in the novel in the sea. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am KINJAL JADAV. Today is my topic concept of negative capability by John Keats. This is my personal information. This is points to ponder. First point is introduction to negative capability. Second point is John Keats and his life. Third point is what is negative capability. Fourth point is literary example. Fifth point is influence. Sixth and revelation today. Seven in conclusion. First point is the introduction to negative capability. Negative capability, a writer's ability, which Shakespeare possessed to immorosely to accept uncertainties, mysteries, doubts without any irritable reaching after fact and reason, according to English poet John Keats, who first used the term in an 1817 letter. An author possessing negative capability is objective and emotionally detached, as opposite to on one who writer for detective purpose a literary work possessing negative capability may have beauties and depth that make conventional consideration of truth and morality irrelevant. Second point, John Keats and his life. John Keats, born was October in 31, year 1795 in London, England. He was died in February 23, year 1821 in Rome, Papal States in Italy. English romantic lyric poet who devoted his short life to the perfection of a poetry marked by vivid imagery, great sensuous appeal, and an attempt to express a philosophy through classical legend. In the summer of 1880, Keats went to a walking tour in the Lake District of northern England and Scotland with his friend Charles Brown, and his exposure and overaction on that trip brought on the first symptoms of the tuberculosis of which he was died. His reputation grew steadily throughout the 19th century, though as later as the 18th century, the pre-Raphael painter William Holman Hunt could refer to him as this little known poet. Keats' 19th century followers on the whole valued the moral superficial aspect of his work, and it was largely left for the 20th century to realize the full range of his technical and intellectual achievement. Third point is what is negative capability. The phrase negative capability was used by the English poet John Keats to describe the capacity to be in or certainties, mysteries, doubts without any irritable reaching after fact and reason. Keats believed that only few possess this ability and that most people would try categories and rationalize every uncertain things, distort and reduce reality instead of opening a new dimension of insight. Kids' negative capability can be taken as suggest artistic form. The literary subject matter, concept and character, standard of evidence, truth and morality. As we generally apply these standards in the course of our practical experience. As we know, he said, I had not a dispute but a disquisition with Dyke on various subjects. Several things debated in my mind at once. In it struck me what quality went to form a man of achievement, especially in literature, and which Shakespeare possessed to so enormously. I mean, negative capability. That is, when man is capable of being in uncertainties, mysteries, doubts, and without any irritable reaching after fact and reasons. Negative capability examples. The most prominent reference to negative capability are found in Keats' poem Ode to a Nightingale, Ode on a Grecian Urn, Ode to Autumn, etc. In Ode to a Nightingale, Keats want to escape from a real world full of fever and fret to the magical and ideal world of Nightingale. The inspiration of power of beauty, according to Keats, is more important than the quest for objective fact. As he writes in his Ode to a Grecian urn, beauty is truth, truth beauty. If we think of the Harry Potter universe, most of our aware that magic does not exist in real life, but John Keats Rowling dumps us right into the world of witches and wizards, giants and wares, goblins and ghosts, and she fully expects her readers to keep up with her influence. Clearly, he using the word negative not in a pejorative sense, but to convey the idea that a person is potential can be defined by what he or she does not possess. In this case, a need to be clever, a determination to work everything out. John Keats was an English romantic lyrics poet whose verse is known for its vivid imagery and great sensuous appeal. His reputation grew after his early death, and he was greatly admired in the Victorian age. Uh, this poet is Keats is a very difficult poet because not any established and set theories. Uh, he his own vision for poetry. Romantic poets had a passion of beauty, and it was their duty to capture in all its forms and manifestation in their work of poetry. Keats was the greatest visionary in this regard since his beauty was built upon beauty. John Keats' negative capability is a ending concept influencing art and literature. It encourage artists to embrace uncertainty and explore complex emotion. This philosophy remains a source of inspiration for creators seeking to delve into depth of human experience in their work. Relevance today. The concept of negative capability by John Keats remains relevant today in various fields in is increasingly complex of uncertain world. It encourages individuals to tolerate ambiguity, to appreciate the beauty of not having all of the answer. It's particularly pertinent in the creative endeavors, problem solving, and personal growth, fostering a more profound understanding of human experience and emotions. That last conclusion. Keats end his brief discussion of negative capability by concluding that with a great poet, the sense of beauty overcomes every other consideration, or rather, liberties of consideration. This is my reference. Thank you. If you have any question.
KINJAL, my question is what did Keats believe negative capability was essential for?
Kids believed it was essential for engaging deeply with art, poetry, and life's complexities. Next.
Kinjal, my question is how does negative capability apply to kids' own poetry?
Its poetry often exemplifies negative capability as he explore beauty and beauty and transience of life, human condition and natural world without uh, attempting attempting to provide definitive definitive answer or a moral lesson. Thank you.
The next one comes. Sharing one screen. So in the first one, KHUSHI had these citations. So one is the scribed one, Shelley Ananya Bose, you have written. It means that Ananya Bose's surname is Shelley. That person has written. It means that what you have cited. When you check that scribed document, that document, it is uploaded by some Manu. There is the name given at the top. But Ananya Bose, where was it? It doesn't have that name. Ananya Bose Shelley. This most of the content from this page, which you have linked also. When I click on the link, getting this. Another one you cited, I think, is this one. Literature Times. P.B. Shelley. So no name is given there. So here there is some Shahir who has written this. Let me share this one. This page, another one. Shahir is the one who has uploaded this blog, and there is this all content. And it has no citations, no. So both these sources are not reliable sources. This is not a quality work from where you are taking the things. Names are not there, proper citations are not there. So when you go through the Google one, then you have to see this, that are we able to reach to quality resource or not? That is a challenging task. Today, everything is handy, but how to teach students that you have to take from quality resources? That is, so everything is open when it becomes challenging. That will I be able to have a parameter in my mind that this is quality, this is not quality, or whatever easily comes, I will take it. Normally, students' behavior is to take whatever comes on the first page, whatever is easy. So that is not a better parameter to do the things. So that is a first challenging thing, that the sources are not of a good quality. Then another one you cited is this Amazon.in. So these are book selling sites. Book selling site that are not to be cited. Book selling sites, anybody that is selling the books, because they don't allow you to read the book. Here you are telling that I have read and referred the book. But how can one read a book from a book selling site? So that also be careful about this. Yes, you can start.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nanda Chavda, and this is my personal information that you can see here. My topic name is Science versus Nature in Frankenstein. Points to ponder in introduction about author, science versus nature, other examples, and conclusion. First of all, starting with Mary Shelley, he wrote this novel. She was born in 1797 and lived in the 19th century. Mary Shelley is the best known for his writing the novel Frankenstein. The novel tells the story of a scientist who creates a monster, and she wrote She wrote when he only just 18 years old. That time he wrote this novel. Mary Shelley's book is one of the first science fiction novels ever written. She was the daughter of famous writers Mary Wollstonecraft and William Godwin. Mary Shelley's life was marked by tragedy, including the death of her husband, Percy Bysshe Bysshe, and the loss of her children. Her work has had a significant influence on the horror and science fiction genres in literature. Now, we talk a brief overview about the Frankenstein novel. Frankenstein novel by Mary Shelley is a classical novel fiction about a young scientist, Dr. Victor Frankenstein, who creates a living creature through a scientific experiment. The creature, often called Frankenstein's monster, is rejected by its creator and society, leading to a series of tragic events. Also, we know, in conclude novels, themes in um, scientific scientific ambitions and consequence of the nature versus nature. It's a cautionary tale about the potential dangers of unchecked scientific pursuits and the importance of taking responsibility for one's actions. The story is told through the story of letters and narratives, and it delves into the darker aspects of human nature and consequences of isolations and abandonment. Here, I give another example of Jurassic Park's movie is a renowned science fiction adventures film directed by Steven Spielberg. It based on the novel and of the same name by Crichton Michael Crichton, and the story revolves around a billionaire who creates a dinosaur theme park on a remote island. To ensure the park's safety, he invites a group of experts. However, a power failure to leads to the escape the dinosaurs and resulting in a struggle for survival and ethical dilemmas. Here, next example of the novel, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It is published in 1886 and also written in this novel, Robert Louis Stevenson. It is a popular interpretation as an anti-science myth prevented science playing to God messing with the nature. In the story, Dr. Jekyll creates a potion and that turns him into the evil Mr. Hyde. Hyde commits crimes and friend Mr. Utterson investigates. The novella explores the duality of human nature and the consequence unchecked desire. This is some examples are first artificial intelligence movie, Blade Runner movie, I Robot movie. Also, we know that Ravan or Robot movies. Everyone see that movies and know what is the reason that. Conclusion: science represents human ambitions and knowledge seeking, while nature symbolizes the natural order and its consequences. Science leads to the creation of life through artificial means, while nature creates life through natural process. Science and nature are not topics that should be combined together because there are complications that could happen that could result in disasters. This is my citations. Thank you. Anyone who asked me question?
Nanda, my question is what's conflict between science and nature in the story?
Um, Here, Victor's scientific ambitions leads to nature's BS natures and made some un, reinvented to human dead, and so the end the life it's become a monster. So um, uh, so the have to know that the story in uh, after the become monster destroy the natures. Next, anyone question?
Nanda, my question: how does the novel portray the danger of unchecked scientific experimentation?
I think scientific experimentation, when scientists created what created that good or bad benefits or drawbacks, no, and then create and so the last in I think give example this monster become monster. He made a become human new life, but he become monster. Thank you. Hello everyone. Good evening. Today's topic is adaptation across cultures. Pride and Prejudice meets Bollywood in Pride and Prejudice. These are my personal information. These are the topics which I am delve deeper into this presentation. So let's firstly discuss introduction of the Pride and Prejudice novel by Jane Austen. Uh, Pride and Prejudice is a timeless classic novel that has captivated readers for centuries. That we know that today we also read this very interestingly. It was written by Jane Austen. It falls under the category of romantic comedy. It published in 1813, and setting of the novel we can find in England during the Regency era, during 1811 to 1820. Protagonist of the play is Elizabeth Bennet, and we can say antagonist is Mr. Darcy's pride and Elizabeth's prejudice. Now let's discuss about Bride and Prejudice movie, which is directed by Gaurinder Chadha. Pride and Prejudice, directed by Gaurinder Chadha, is a delightful and vibrant cinematic adaptation that reimagines Jane Austen's classic novel, Pride and Prejudice, in the colorful and energetic world of Bollywood. We can find that Bollywood make this type of adaptation with music and some mirch masala. Uh, its director by its director is Gaurinder Chadha. Its genre is romantic comedy. We can find and it narration with musical. We can find that story moves with musical elements, and it released in 2004. Its screenwriter is Paul Maida Burgess. Producer is Gaurinder Chadha, and co-producer is Deepak Nair. And all the musicians is
all the musician is Anu Malik. Bride and Prejudice by Gaurinder Chadha is we can say that a Bollywood adaptation of Jane Austen's Prejudice. We can say that in this adaptation we find that there is a fusion of Indian and Western cultures. When we see that there is a depiction of Bakshi family. In a novel, we can find there is a depiction of Bennet family. Elizabeth, who is a protagonist, Elizabeth Bennet, and her family, we can find Bennet family. But in this movie, we can find Bennet as a Bakshi family. We can find in this music, dance, and stellar cast. Everyone is. We can find in Indian when Gaurinder Chadha wants to represent Indian girl, so she select Aishwarya Rai Bachchan, who plays very significant role of in this movie. An enchanting take on a classic story. We can say that she gives faithful. She remains faithful to the novel. The film was simultaneously released in UK, US, and India, and in both English and Hindi, merging Eastern and Western elements. It published in this in three countries. In Western, they praises it a lot, but in India, it faces some type of criticism that. She cannot Gaurinder Chadha cannot remain that Bollywood elements, she breaks the rules of Bollywood films. It belongs to the genre of South Asian crossover cinema, bridging Hollywood and Bollywood. In Suchitra Mathur, in her article mentioned that it belongs to South Asian cinema. These are main protagonists: Aishwarya Rai as a Lalita Bakshi, a strong-willed and independent young woman, and Martin Henderson as a William Darcy. We can find how it how we can say that it bridging cultures, like a culture fusion. We can say in this movie we find that India meets America. It means Mr. Darcy, who is coming from America, who came across the family of Bakshi family, and they just have some kind of relation, changes to Bollywood genre. As I mentioned earlier, that Chadha tries to break some rules of Bollywood, and it challenges that patriarchal portrait of Bollywood films. Indian audience reception, we can find that Indian audience are not very satisfied because they just in their aura of that patriarchy Bollywood films. Like, what type of similarities between novel and movie? We can say that clearly influenced by Bride and Prejudice is clearly influenced by Austen's Pride and Prejudice, but Jane Austen's, we can say it's her own novel, it iconic novel. Characters, we can features that it becomes Elizabeth becomes Lalita, and Mr. Darcy become Will Darcy. And in this we can find main characters are as it is. In romantic plot, we can find revolves around the central romantic relationship, which starts with conflict and evolves in love in movie. But in novel, we can find that central love story between Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy. Social themes, we can find that explores theme related to social norms, class difference, and pursuit of love and structured societies. But in novel, we can find centrally focused on societal and class issues. These are differences. That movie is just released in 2004, so we can find that setting of the movie is a modern century, and we can find in this cultural difference that one is Indian and one is American. In novel, we can find the setting is 19th century, and it reflects the manner and customs of that time. We can find the movie is moving with musical elements, and novel has no musical elements. In movie, we find that humor and self parody, and but in novel, we can find that focuses on main characters and relationship. There are no any type of humor. It moves on very serious flow. We can find in movie that there are melodramatic elements, but in a novel we can find there is no melodramatic elements. In movie, we can find that primarily English, but we can find in Hindi that sometimes sometimes, sorry, Lalita Bakshi says that mere sapne wo hote jo abhi dur hai. So in this dialogue we can find that Hindi and Mr. Bakshi who also talk in Punjabi, but novel is has only written in English, and it characterized by subtle and satire, lacking of comic elements, and it entire in English. In nutshell, we can say that by comparing these two novel and film, we can justify that it reflects that how the film attempts to bridge cultural boundaries, and however the analysis shows that it falls short of achieving a meaningful fusion of post-colonial resistance and Bollywood, highlighting the persistence of neoconservative consumerism and gender politics. This suggests that the adaptation cultural meeting remains somewhat superficial, that we can find that Jane Austen write this novel in 19th century, but we can connect with our modern society. These are my references, and thank you. If you have any question, feel free to ask.
My question is, how was Bride and Prejudice received by Indian audience, and what impact did it have on the Bollywood film industry?
Yes, Kinjal, that Bride and Prejudice, I mentioned that Bride and Prejudice received in West, they are they praise the film, but in Indian or context, we can say that Indian audiences are not much satisfied with this film. They always in that. Aura of that patriarchy society's depiction film, so it little bit it challenged that it's patriarchal norms, so everyone is not satisfied with that. And what impact did the have on the Bollywood film industry? Yeah, film impacts that film learns film teaches the filmmakers that they can use music for their narration in different type. They can experiment with their story. They can just break the old time storytelling, just bring new storytelling element. Yes, this is. Anyone, any other question?
My question is, with which other Bollywood film character can we connect Elizabeth Bennet from John Austen's Pride and Prejudice?
Yes, Nanda. With which other Bollywood film character we connect Elizabeth Bennet? We can Pride and Prejudice. We can find that Elizabeth is a free will and independent woman who cannot bother by anyone's will, or any who can she can resist that, and she can stand for her. So we can find that similar character is Geet from Jab We Met. That she is a free will character and who stand for herself, and she is a very intellectual girl like Elizabeth Bennet. And so we can connect these both girl. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Priyanshi. Good evening. Today I deal with this topic Frankenstein, Mary Shelley modifying Paradise Lost. This is my personal information. So let's discuss about Mary Shelley. Her full name is Mary Wollstonecraft Godwin, born 13 August 1797, London, England. Died 1 February 1851, London, England. Occupation writer. Notable works Frankenstein 1818. Spouse Percy Bysshe Shelley. Then introduced to Mary Shelley's novel Frankenstein and John Milton's poem Paradise Lost. First, Mary Shelley's novel Frankenstein. Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, published in 1818, is a seminal work of science fiction and Gothic literature. It tells the story of Victor Frankenstein, a scientist who creates a monster through a daring experiment. The novel delves into themes of ambition, morality, and the consequence of scientific discovery, offering a cautionary tale about the misuse of knowledge. Then John Milton's poem Paradise Lost. Paradise Lost, an epic poem by John Milton, published in 1667, narrates the biblical story of the fall of man. It centers on Satan's rebellion, expulsion from heaven, and the temptation of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. The poem explores themes of free will, temptation, and the human condition, while also addressing complex theological and philosophical concepts in a grand poetic narrative. Then the creature as a fallen angel. The parallels between the creature in Frankenstein and Satan in Paradise Lost. The creature in Frankenstein and Satan in Paradise Lost share parallels as outcast figures who rebel against their creators. They both experience isolation and seek revenge against the forces that have rejected them, showcasing themes of alienation and the consequences of challenging divine authority. Creator and creation relationship. The complex relationship between Victor and his creature. The relationship between Victor and his creature in Frankenstein is marked by creator and creation tension. Victor entirely abandons and fears the creatures, leading to the creature's anguish. This complex dynamic highlights theme of responsibility, neglect, and the consequence of unchecked ambition. Compare it to the relationship between God and his creation in Paradise Lost. The relationship between Victor and his creation in Frankenstein reflects the flawed nature of creator and creation dynamics. Similarly, in Paradise Lost, the relationship between God and his creation, like Adam and Eve, is marked by divine authority and moral responsibility. Both portray the complexity of this relationship in the face of human and divine ambition. Moral and ethical dilemmas. The moral and ethical dilemmas faced by characters in both works. In both Frankenstein and Paradise Lost, characters face moral and ethical dilemmas. Frankenstein explored the consequence of playing God and mating with nature, while Paradise Lost delves into the themes of free will, temptation, and the consequence of moral choices. Both works highlight the moral and ethical complexities of their characters' decisions. Mary Shelley's modification. Mary Shelley's modified and adapted themes and characters from Paradise Lost in Frankenstein by reinterpreting Satan as the tormented creature and casting Victor Frankenstein as a modern Prometheus. This adaptation allowed her to explore themes of creation, ambition, and the consequence of challenging divine order in a unique and thought-provoking way. Conclusion. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein brilliantly reinterprets themes and characters from John Milton's Paradise Lost.
She transforms Satan into the creature, emphasizing his isolation and torment, while Victor Frankenstein embodies the myth of Prometheus. Shelley's creative genius lies in her ability to adapt these elements to explore ambition, scientific ethics, and moral consequences. Her reinterpretations offer a striking commentary on the perils of unrestrained scientific ambition and the ethical dilemmas inherent in challenging divine authority and reshaping Milton's epic into a timeless cautionary tale. These are my works cited. Thank you. If you have any question, you can ask.
Priyanshi, my question is, what themes from Paradise Lost did Mary Shelley incorporate into her writing?
Mary Shelley incorporate into her writing in Paradise Lost themes like unchecked ambition, creature, fall, and guilt, and the struggle of individual against the society. Then next question.
My question is, what are the similarities and differences between Satan's character Paradise Lost and Victor Frankenstein in Frankenstein?
Okay. Similarities were both Satan and Victor Frankenstein's are very ambitious, and that leads to their fallen, and they challenges established authority. And differences are Satan was a angel who disobeyed God, and Victor Frankenstein is human scientist who creates life. Okay, thank you.
KINJAL, you're not paying for your ICAR. Make payment or no? So when are you going to pay? NANDA was. You will pay right now.
Good afternoon, one and all present over here. Today, I'm going to present a presentation on behalf of the topic Ozymandias, the tyranny ruler. This is my personal information. Now, this is the introduction of the P.B. Shelley. He was born on 4th August 1792 in Sussex, England. He died on 8th July 1822 at sea of Livano, Tuscany. His occupation, he was a poet, essayist, and playwright. He educated at Eton College and University of Oxford. His early exposure, he made radical political ideas that influenced his writing, and he's one of the prominent figure of the Romantic age. And his relationship, if we talk, so he married Mary Shelley. His full name is Wollstonecraft Godwin, and they collaboratively created Frankenstein, which was specifically created by Mary Shelley. Now we'll talk about his literary contribution. I have taken his major works, the Ozymandias. It is not specifically poem but a sonnet which consists of 14 lines. Then Prometheus Unbound, Adonis, Towards Skylark, etc. Table of content. Now I'm going to deal with this topics: the poem, the tyranny of Ozymandias, themes of Ozymandias, Ozymandias poems, related quote, and conclusion. So first we'll go with his poem. I have not written his full poem. I have written the half poem where I wanted to highlight here. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair, which means here that I'm the most powerful king, and after me, no one is no one is there after me. I'm the first king, which talks here in this poem, this specific line. Next, the tyranny of Ozymandias. Probably it is implicit agreement with Graham Hawkes reading and parting gesture to the sonnet that Ozymandias is an extremely clear and direct poem, advancing to a predetermined and by means of one firmly held image that has discouraged attention. It's been written by this person. I've done here in text citation, Friedman. Predictably, in the accounts of travelers, historians, for Shelley's powerful description, which he talks here about the that Ozymandias was the king in the ancient time, and he was very arrogant. So his arrogant breaks and it shattered, means it it destroys his statue, and it's so it has been suggested here in this index citation by this Friedman. The themes of Ozymandias. First, we'll deal with power of nature. Over here, power of nature, where the king Ozymandias, he uh, he was very as he was very arrogant. So he thinks himself that I am something, and he thinks by himself that I can defeat this nature also. But we cannot defeat nature, where nature is permanent, and nature no one can destroy the nature. The second is arrogance. He was as he was king Ozymandias. So he describes in his poem that I'm Ozymandias, the kings of kings, which describes his arrogance and pride. History. If we talk about history, that at the time of ancient where Ozymandias was a king, so he used to think himself that after me no one can be become king. I will be the king, and at last, I'll be only the king. And then if we talk about power, then power we can like in themes, sorry, not themes, but which I've written as half poem, where one line describes that look on my works, ye mighty and despair, which describes the power of Ozymandias as a king. Now, Ozymandias related quote. Again, this quote I have highlighted that look on my works, ye mighty and despair. Where again he talks that I'm the I'm the king, and after me, no one can be the become king, and I'll be there forever. This is my work citation. This is the conclusion, where the poem conclusion is a commentary on the impermanence of human achievements and power, where it tells that we nothing is permanent in this world. Everything is temporary. So the traveler who tells the story conveys that all that remains of Ozymandias as an empire is shattered, means it is going to be destroyed in the desert. The statue where we can see in this poem, Ozymandias' statue was there with the inscription, look on my works, ye mighty and despair, which highlights the irony and futility of Ozymandias' pride and tyranny. So the poem emphasizes the idea that even the most powerful rulers cannot last forever. Sorry. Thank you. Now, if anybody is having any questions, you can ask me.
Reshma, my question is, what is the Greek name of Ozymandias?
Okay, the Greek name of Ozymandias is Pharaoh Ramses II is the Greek name of Ozymandias. Any other question?
Reshma, my question is, in the poem, could you point out the two distinct places where the events occur?
Okay, the two distinct places where the event occurs. First is where the narrator meets the traveler, and second place is ancient civilization, where ancient civilization was once existed. Thank you so much.
See this question, if you see there is some can start sharing. You can keep open your so like this question is as if we are testing the presenter. So here you're not supposed to ask to test whether it is like you want to pass somebody or fail somebody. There are questions where you pass or fail somebody, and there are questions where you want to know more from the speaker. Two different kinds of questions, if you understand that. So whether you want to pass or fail the speaker, like we are in an interview and an interviewer comes and then we have to pass or fail. Then we ask different kind of question. If there is a speaker there and then we want to know more, then what we ask. So this you have to keep in mind, that when you ask question, how to ask good questions, in which context you are, depending upon that, the nature of the question has to change. So this seems to be like you want to pass or fail somebody. Yeah. Or otherwise you can say that you made this point in your slide, you made this argument. Can you throw more light on this? Can you explore this more? Where you want to know more, you think that the speaker knows something more about it, and let me ask that. That is how you can learn how to ask good questions in any gatherings, but it always will keep on changing who you are and to whom you are asking. So here we are not interviewer, and the people are not coming here for interview, so that we have to pass them or fail them. Here we have to like know more from the speaker, then how to ask that kind of questions.
This is the third day of our presentation seminar, and today I'm going to deal with the topic psychology and the creation of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. This is my personal information. This is points that I'm going to deal with today. Introduction. Frankenstein, or the full title is Modern Prometheus, is a novel which is written by Mary Shelley, most famous woman writer during the Romantic period. It is Gothic novel and also includes science fiction in itself. As Nanda already mentioned, that Mary Shelley started this work when she was 18, and firstly it is published but not with her name. In the second edition we can find her name, and also we can say that in introduction that the Romantic periods comes from classical neoclassical period. Then in the neoclassical period, how poets write, poets or writer wants to deal with the current situation, reason, and highly positive, or what we can truth. But in the Romantic period, that imagination concept were there, and this is Frankenstein. I'm going to deal with the psychological approach. This is the Mary Shelley's personal information. Mary Shelley was born in London, England on 13th of August 1797, daughter of William Godwin and Mary Wollstonecraft. She met young poet P.B. Shelley in 1812, eloped with him in July 1840, 1814, and married him in 1816. Mary has 5 pregnancies in her life, and only one of them, one of the child can be survived till adulthood only. So we can say that this incident of Mary Shelley also makes her encouraged to write this kind of gothic fiction work. Mary Shelley was become very famous for her work Frankenstein. Mary Shelley and philosophical invention. Shelley attributes the resulting novel to trance, in which the perceived the aftermath of combination of this science and creation result, resulted human life from processing consequences. Shelley fell into revire. She was falling in imagination only, and she is constantly trying to make her creature with as like human, that she imagined that yellow watery but speculative eyes of the creature, and the creator means monster has so many rashes on his body and so many kind of things. Also we can say that the psychological approach that Mary Shelley creates when she is describing the monsters, that we find that how monsters learn the language by seeing the poor family, and by speaking, and then listening, seeing, speaking, listening, and then writing. That how we this topic we can connect with child psychology also, that how children are suppose learning process, that we find here monster uh, exclusion from society. That is clear that isolated and unnatural creation of monster manifests in the incapacity of the monster access social realms at all, especially not with respect and privileged mode of written correspond. We can also connect this with the time duration when Frankenstein was written and published. We can say that the plague and other kind of situation were there. When people sees that monster, they think that this is the patient from who is dealing with this kind of plague, and they reject him. And also his appearance are not that much good. So they also, we can say that psychology in other characters, Elizabeth, in Elizabeth we can say that the psychology, we find that Elizabeth is always supportive to Victor Frankenstein. Firstly she was sister, they both are living with sister, brother and sister, and then they getting married with her mother's desire, through his mother's desire, that we already know from this story. But whole the novel, but through the whole novel we can say find that Elizabeth is well supported towards Victor Frankenstein. Even Victor Frankenstein was busy to creating this monster. Then also Elizabeth caring nature, that we find that Victor is not going to meet her by once, though she comes to Victor and tries to talk with her. Secondly, Henry, we find that his friend, and also doctor in that movie also we find Frankenstein. uh, uh, he is also supportive and kind of fearful nature, that we find see in movie, that how he become unconscious when he saw the injection only. And though he is a doctor, old woman, uh, that we find from whom that monster learns the languages. And this old woman's family member Felix, Sefi, and Agatha, they also are kind in a way, so that they are away from society, that they are kind in a way. But when they see the monster and they react cruel towards the monster, then we find that psychological approach that we find. And the end of the novel we also find a line by monster, that I'm done with the man. So this also find a psychological approach. Also Nanda have mentioned so many movies, that robot 2.0, and Jivan also we find somewhere, that also we can consider that if Victor Frankenstein creating something, then he should uh, maintain the process of creating something, that he creates monster and leave him without testament. Then it has positive and negative part. Whenever we find or invent something new, then we must have to go through this psychological approach, that is this creation is helpful, or how it reacts when I leave it to the society. is society accept him? What the reflection of my creation? In conclusion, creation of the monster in this novel shows how much Frankenstein was blinded by his own ego. Psychoanalysis is a very useful theory for analyzing Frankenstein's mind and why he made this decision. Uh, okay, these are some references, and thank you. If you have any question, then please.
Priya, my question is, what do you think about ambition and obsession of Victor Frankenstein?
Okay, as I have mentioned in conclusion, that ambition and obsession towards his creation of Victor Frankenstein leads to his downfall, his own downfall. As we also find in Macbeth, if we compare it with the other papers, then that how his ambition and obsession towards his particular work that we find, and his downfall were there. But also we can find this psychological approach when he is become very egoistic during that if you remember that in movie scene that we find the college scene, and when his professor asking him that you are not supposed to do like this, I am working since so long, and Victor Frankenstein react negatively, so that no, I want to and I have to do that. His intention are quite good, no doubt, but the result is something else, so that we can also find the psychological approach. Any other?
So, Riya, my question to you is, why do you think that this particular kind of psychological approach is useful in contemporary times?
Okay. This kind of psychological approach that also useful in contemporary time, as we know that this is the contemporary time which is based on completely on AI, that we are promoting chat GPT and bard and so many other things, and also we have so many things like robots, cleaning robots and human robots and all these things, but we have to see that positive and negative part both, so this kind of psychological approach that is useful. Okay, thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Shruti. I'm gonna present you guys the topic of Mary Shelley as a novelist. Introduction. Let's talk about her early life and family. Shelley was born on 13 August 1797 in Somerstown, London, United Kingdom. Shelley was the daughter of the radical philosopher William Godwin, who described her as singularly bold, somewhat imperious, and active of mind. Her mother, who died days after her birth, was the famous defender of women's rights, Mary Wollstonecraft. Mary grew up with five semi-related siblings in Godwin's unconventional but intellectually electric household. Because her mother died after giving birth, her father remarried with her neighbor, and that's why she got a stepmother. She was having lots of trouble living with her stepmother, and a relationship with Percy Bysshe Shelley. At the age of 16, Mary eloped to Italy with the poet Percy Bysshe Shelley, who praised the irresistible wildness and sublimity of her feelings. Each encouraged the other's writing, and they married in 1816 after the suicide of Shelley's wife. Percy Bysshe Shelley was married before marrying Mary Shelley, and her wife committed suicide. They had several children, of whom only one survived. She was a teenager, and Percy was a age of 21 when they eloped to Italy. Based novels of Mary Shelley: Frankenstein, The Modern Prometheus, The Last Man, The Fortunes of Perkin Warbeck. Writing Frankenstein. Ghost writing contest on a stormy June night in 1816 inspired Frankenstein, often called the first true work of science fiction. Superficially a Gothic novel influenced by the experiments of Luigi Galvani, it was concerned with the destructive nature of power when allied to wealth. It was an instant wonder, and formed a mythology all of its own that endures this day. The novel tells the story of Dr. Victor Frankenstein and a creature he creates in unorthodox scientific experiment. Shelley was 19 when she wrote the novel. And the death of Mary Shelley. Mary Shelley, an influential figure of 17th century, dazzled the world with her creative abilities. She suffered from attacks of paralysis and acute headaches from 1839, which hindered her writing abilities. Later, she was diagnosed with a brain cancer and passed away on 1st of February in 1851. This is my work citation. Thank you. If anyone has a question, feel free to ask.
Settings of select another camera and then select this camera. That you select.
So, Shruti, my question to you is, how was the upbringing of Mary Shelley?
Mary Shelley's upbringing was unconventional, rich, and informal. Her mother died after giving birth, and her father tutored her throughout her life. Her father was a great philosopher, and her mother was a great teacher.
Audio.
Shruti, my question to you is, what was the cause of Mary Shelley's death? And also, I want to know that from you, that what is that major event so that Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein novel?
The cause of Shelley's death was brain tumor. At that time, brain tumor was not really understood by the people deeply and precisely. At least Mary Shelley believed that she had a brain tumor, and likely to the cause of Mary Shelley's death. Thank you.
So, hello everyone. My topic is Odes poem and critical opinion of John Keats. This is my personal details. This is points to ponder. So first one is introduction of John Keats. Second is Keats' writing style, the odes poems, a critical opinion of John Keats, and in the last conclusion. Introduction of John Keats. John Keats was a great English poet and one of the youngest poets of the Romantic movement, born in London on 31st October 1795. The themes of Keats' works were love, beauty, joy in nature, music, and the morality of human life. Keats' diction of highly connotative. His writing style is characterized by sensual imagery and contains many poetic devices. This is the five elements of Keats' writing style. This writing style is give creates in poetry rhythm, rhyme, and music. Personification. We can see personification in where human quality gives to things that weren't human. In alliteration we can see that a repetition of a letter, like in Keats or poem, one of the poem is the ode to Ottoman. In that he use mist and mellow. The m is common in that. Metaphors creates a rich imagery with sensuation, and the nature. Consonants is like constant words like bitter and butter. Assonance is like repetition, or we can see that similar sounds like a rat and a cat. The odes. An odes refers to a specific from a lyrical poetry that Keats frequently used in his works. An ode is a type of poem characterized by its elevated and formal tone, often addressing a specific subject or person, expressing deep emotions and reflecting on profound themes. Ode is derived from a Greek word "edein," which means to chant or sing. A salient feature of ode is its uniform metrical feet, but poets generally do not strictly follow this rule to thou use highly elevated theme. The Odes poem, Ode to a Nightingale. This poem deals with transience and the desire to escape into a world of beauty and art. Second one is Ode on a Grecian urn, beauty, truth, and the tension between the static, eternal nature of art and transient nature of human existence. Third one is Ode on a Melancholy, paradoxical nature of melancholy, suggesting that if can lead to deeper appropriation of beauty and joy. Fourth poem is the Ode to a Psyche. It deals with praise and imaginative and artistic capacities of the human souls, using the story of Psyche as a symbol of the soul's potential for a transcendent experience and creativity. The last one is Ode to Indolence. This poem deals with the balance between leisure and productivity, the allure of sensual pleasures, and the great that can accompany a life lived in indolence. Uh, Critical opinion of John Keats. These are critics who criticize John Keats. Lee Hunt from Examiner, 1st December 1816. Hunt reviews Keats' first volume of poetry, Their Friendship Inavailability, linked Keats to Hunt's politics as association with Agreed the poet. Second one is John Wilson Crooker from the Quarterly Review, April 1818. Crocker's review of Keats' first volume of poem is mostly concerned with attacking Lee Hunt's poetry. He also admits that he didn't bother reading of the most Endymion before writing the review.
A third one is John Gibson Lockhart from Blackwood's Edinburgh magazine, August 1818. It is a better and wiser thing to be a starved apothecary than a starved poet. So back to the shop, Mr. John, back to plasters, pills, and ointment box. Lockhart writes, and he also attacks Keats' choice of companions. The early critical opinion of Keats' poetry was not favorable, with the notable exceptions of his close friend and the exiled Percy Shelley. It is to Keats' credit that he understood the politics purpose and of the attacks and continued his work with increasing confidence in his own talent. What Keats think of this criticism, that Keats is giving review. On 8 October 1880, Keats referred to the Savage Reviews. That Keats is saying that praise or blame has but a momentary effect on the man whose love of beauty in the abstract make him a self-critic on his own works. My own domestic criticism has given me pain without comparison beyond that Blackwood or the contrarily could possibly inflict. In the last, there is a conclusion. The odes, the poet present conflict, paradox, oxymorons, and dualities, the resolution of which is essential in appropriating and understanding one of the main theme of the odes, the relation between the real and the ideal. Keats has been the subject of both praise and criticism throughout literary history. While there are valid critical opinions regarding John Keats' poetry, he remains a beloved and influential figure in the world of literature. He contributes to romantic poetry, particularly his emphasis on beauty, nature, and sensuousness. Continue to be celebrated by readers and scholars alike. Keats' work, though brief, has a left enduring mark on the world of poetry and remains a subject of both admiration and critique. These are my references. Thank you. If you have any question, you can ask me.
My question is, how did John Keats overcome the criticism and how did he react?
During his lifetime, John Keats faces many criticism, John Gibson and John Wilson. They both criticize Keats that Keats' work are too sensual, and in John Keats' work there are lacking of traditional structure. But Keats deal with no anger and no defenses. Kids believe in the importance of negative capability, and kids focusing on his own abstract, and he develop his artistic nature. Next.
Trupti, my question to you is, how does Keats balance a sense of melancholy and joy in his own poems, and what is the emotional impact on the reader?
Kids mixes both emotion in his work, like joy and sadness. In his work, like Keats is beginning his poem with a sadness, like nothing is permanent, everything has to die, or everything will be end. And at the same time, Keats add some positive thing, that he can find nature, a beautiful aspect of nature in his poetry. And like Keats is trying to say that all beautiful things are passly soon, but we can find a beautiful moment in that. This impact very strong and emotional. Thank you.
by the time next gets ready. The iCards. See, in this iCard address that we have written, most of you also have made lots of errors in writing. When you write address, capital letters, comma, everything you have to be careful of. Who will edit everything? Students are making. So if you make edit, then you are told that check it out once. But very first typing of the detail also is full of errors. So we'll see here PRIYANSHIBA. Chitra, Bhavnagar, there should be some comma, otherwise it looks one only. Chitra, comma, Bhavnagar, capital letters for necessary things. See this, pass it on. This is NANDA, this is good. All capital letters we have written, but comma is missing. Panchwati Chowk, comma, Subhas Nagar Road. So where commas, other things are required, which is a simple mechanics of writing. This is Machada or Gatta? Machada is Machada. Station Road Machada. Madada, M-A-D-H-A-D-A. Then spelling of Gujarat, what is the spelling of Gujarat? Angrezi में गुजरात में spelling है अपन यहाँ आवड़े गुजरात में आता वस्तु कहेगा गुजरात जरानी वच्चे बोलो आडो लीटो केरो होय तो जरा गुजरात and Gujarat is a different word. Gujarat and Gujarat. This is RIYA. Near second versus station. So comma, near second, all capital, comma, everything. This is UNNATI. Also no capital letters, all small alphabets. It is better to write all capital rather than all small. Otherwise you have to say first letter capital, other small. Then comma, then space, comma પછી space આવે. Mechanics of writing માં. Comma પછી space હંમેશા લખવો પડે. This is SHRUTI. Relatively good. KHUSHI in this group. Comma, then some space. Which village is it? Village or city only? From city. RESHMA. Okay. Good. With pin code you have written address. The spelling of Gujarat is wrong, but still with pin code you have written. So that is good. So when you type your address, pin code is something. These are all matters of habits. આદત તો ની વાત જ છે બીજું કશું નથી એ આદત હોય તો આપણે તે એડ્રેસ લખીએ this is PALLAVI. This is better. Or comma, space, opposite, then dot is mentioned, OPP. This is better. TRUPTI also is written properly with pin code. Yes, Raj, alphabetical problems. Military society, and press quarter spelling also, you have to see Chitra, capital C. Pin code you have mentioned, other things are still missing. હવે આઈ કાર્ડ તમારું જોશે એટલે બધા ટીકા કરશે કે અંગ્રેજી ખબર વાળા આવું અંગ્રેજી લખે એટલે ગાળો અમને પડશે કે હેડ કોર્સ છે તમારા ડિપાર્ટમેન્ટમાં પણ એ ભલે ગાળો પડે એ બને આપણે શીખીએ આપણે ગાળો ખાવી પડે પણ એ બને સ્ટુડન્ટ શીખે ને આપણને ખ્યાલ આવે કે આપણે એક સાદું કંઈક આપણને ફોર્મ ભરવાનું કહેવામાં આવે તો એ આપણા ક્લાસમેટ્સ કેટલી બધી ભૂલો કરતા હોય છે આપણે એમાં નાની બધી બાબતોમાં બહુ બેદરકારી રાખતા હોય છે એટલે આમાં એવું નથી કે નથી આવડતું હોતું આપણી બેદરકારી હોય કે ફોર્મ આવ્યું છે ને ભરી નાખો ને ગમે તે આવ્યું લાગે નાના મોટા મિકેનિક્સ ઉપર આપણે ધ્યાન નથી આપતા એટલે આવું બધું થયા and we want to see કે 2 વર્ષ પછી તમે અહીંથી જાઓ જેટલા ચાય એટલા વચ્ચે નીકળી જાય એની કોઈ ચિંતા નથી તો છેલ્લે જે થપ્પો લઈને જાય ડિપાર્ટમેન્ટ ઓફ ઇંગ્લિશનો એમાં આવી કચાશ ન રહેવી જોઈએ તમે જે આવ્યા છે એવા ન જવા કોઈ પણ કામ કરો ચોકસાઈપૂર્વક કરો, નાનકડી ભૂલ ક્યાંય ન થાય. That is very important. Okay, yes, you can start.
Okay, very good evening, everyone. Today I am dealing with various marriage proposals with personality reflection in Pride and Prejudice. Yes, these are my personal informations. Just a second. Yes. So, first of all, we'll go through the poet, Jane Austen. Sorry, novelist. She was an English novelist known primarily for her 6 novels, which critique and comment upon the high class society like of the 18th century. Austen's plot often explored the dependence of women and marriage for the pursuit of favorable social standings and economic security. She anonymously published Sense and Sensibility in 1811, Pride and Prejudice in 1813, Mansfield Park in 1814, and Emma in 1816. Were the modest success, but brought her little fame in her lifetime. Then about the novel, uh, romantic novel by Jane Austen, which was published in 3 volumes in 1813. It centers on the burgeoning relationship of between Elizabeth Bennet and Fitzwilliam Darcy, like how the ending and starting of the relationship, how it started and how it ended. Then Bennet family includes 5 sisters. The intersection of these sisters with several eligible bachelors drive the actions of the novel. Yes. There's a opening line in the novel that is, it is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. Yes, you know. And then it nowadays, if the one who reads the novel will also like be in a thought that it is a truth universally acknowledged that a woman in possession of a romantic heart must be in agony over fate of Darcy and Elizabeth time and again. Yes, the points we are going to discuss. Yes, the various marriage proposals with personality reflections. There are 4 marriage proposals, and how these marriage proposals reflect the personalities of every individual. First, Mr. Collins with Elizabeth Bennet. How was like we can say that Mr. Collins was a clergyman and a Bennet cousin. He came to the Bennet house just because he was an hired for some of the property. And his nature was pompous and foolish. Like here, both the characters, if we see, there is a great personality difference between them. The one is a very comic type of character, and the other one is very serious and yes. And another name also Elizabeth is also known as Lizzie. She was intelligent and witty and honest reflection, like she would be honest on the face. And another proposal that was Mr. Darcy to Elizabeth Bennet. Mr. Darcy was a proud and sincere man, aloof and snobbish, likable and sympathetic. He was very, like we can say, a type of arrogant in the starting. Like he ill-treated the family, Bennet family, and in the end, we can see that he was very sympathetic towards the Elizabeth. Yes, again, Elizabeth was intelligent and poised, snap judgments. She used to do like she used to judge everyone very quickly. Romantic happiness in the end with Darcy. Yes, Mr. Bingley and Jane Bennet. We can see here that Bingley was a affable and attractive gentleman, wealthy and well mannered, easily swayed where he's easily swayed is when Darcy tells him that judges like she's not good like about Elizabeth and all. But at that time, Bingley was like, yes, we can't judge like anyone. So, and here Jane Bennet, confident and loveliest, kind-hearted and trusting. Yes, here the both the characters we can see the similarities. They both are very humble. And yes, Mr. Wickham to Lydia Bennet. Wickham was a very was a military officer, handsome gold digger, we can say, because at the very beginning he told Elizabeth that Darcy is not a good person because he is just taking like he didn't give me the money which I own, and made a misunderstanding among them. Dishonest and charming. Lydia was a flirtatious, like she was very flirtatious, impulsive young woman, scandalous and hasty marriage. In the end, she was a scandal, like because Wickham asked for the money for the marriage. And yes, conclusion. The proposal and actions throughout the novel are vital moments that reveal the character's true nature, their personalities evolve, and how true love and understanding ultimately win over pride and prejudice, leading to several marriages and resolution the story's conflict. Yes, these are my references. Thank you. Anyone have any questions can ask.
Unnati, my question is, what personality reflection can we see in Elizabeth Bennet?
Okay. Personality reflection. Yes. In the beginning, she was like used to judge everyone so quickly, and at one point we can see that she believed in the what Wickham said, that Darcy is not a good man. He just didn't uh, like gave him the money or whatever he was, but that was not the truth. At the end we can at the end of the novel we can come to know that Darcy was right at his own point, and that time Elizabeth was like, no, he is right, and she just changed her perspective. Yes.
My question is, how does Mr. Darcy's proposal to Elizabeth eventually leads to a change in her perception of his personality?
Yes, almost the same like Darcy's proposal. At the end, she just at the beginning, Elizabeth denied the proposal of Darcy because he ill-treated Bennet family and everyone. So, and Elizabeth was a type of a girl that who believes in love and respect rather than the societal point of view. So, and that, yes, and end when Darcy was getting too much sympathetic and polite with the Elizabeth, and when she found that spark that no, now it's okay, and like, so they, we can see that change in Elizabeth also. Thank you.
Okay, before we see that, you can open that. So we see the last one. Share. This was Trupti's presentation. No, this one. So when you cite the things, the in-text citation which we are referring to, that is very important. You are using something on your slides and then you are citing the source, so that when we are evaluating, we can see whether you have understood that concept properly or not. That's why I have to check that, or anybody in dissertation, MPhil, PhD, why the citations are necessary. so that somebody who is checking can understand that the way you have cited is proper or not. So you have to go there and see what you have cited. So it should be in text. So when I check this, for example, Hansen, I want to check that where you have, what you have used from this. When I opened the website, I found this general information about John Keats. So what have you used from this? But I'm not able to find. Hansen is referred only once. In my search result, it means that it is nowhere else mentioned. So I can't see what you used from this site. So I can't give a comment, or that is why this becomes wrong. The purpose is not served. What is the objective of citation is not served in this. I can't see what you have used or why you referred to this one. And then another one, if I am searching, then that again also is one result only I am seeing. It means it is in no other slide. Otherwise, we'll get two. I can go there and see that here you have referred something, and then I see it is proper or not. Yeah, that way I can give some comments on that. So that is how you cut your marks in the research writing. Last two components, where if you want to score full mark, then that should be connected and one can see what is given there. When you refer to all these things, you have to cite these things. You said that Leigh Hunt said so and so in 1816. Crocker, John Wilson Crocker said this. Where have they said all these things? So how can I verify that what you have mentioned on the slide is true or not? So I have to go through the source, either those quarterly reviews of 1818 or somebody cited them. That is why it is required that whatever points you are claiming is true or not, from where you came to know. Because it is not written by you. You have collected material from other sources. And so we have to put that this is what they have said. એમ હોય કે સ્વપ્નમાં આવ્યા હતા લે હન્ટ અને મને કહ્યું કે આ રીતે છે, તો આપણે તો બરાબર છે કે સ્વપ્નમાં આવીને કીધું હોય તો કેમ સાબિતી આપી? સ્વપ્નમાં તો ન આવ્યા, એને ક્યાંક આપણે વાંચ્યું હોય એનું કે આવું એને ક્યાં વાંચ્યું છે. That should come. If that is not coming, then that work is incomplete. And in your title, you are saying critical opinion of John Keats. It is critical opinions on John Keats. So when you read that, you think that you are talking about poems and criticism written by John Keats. He wrote criticism also, like letters, where negative capability is there. That is his critical observations on the poetic process. So from the title, it seems you are talking about that. But in the slides, it came to be the fact that you are talking about somebody commented critically on John Keats. So that is on, not off there, that you have to see that. So in this, if you see, like Unnati has prepared very good slides, slide design, all these things are very well worked out. These slides, this all work. So where you prepared this? These are images. From Canva you have downloaded this. Means you have prepared in Canva, or it was already available? In Canva. So then you have to cite that from wherever it was available, that citation. So whenever you are using anybody's resources, you have to acknowledge them by giving them. Otherwise it is called chori. It is a theft without acknowledging the people. If you are using, so it becomes your work now. So, but it is not your work. So, and if you don't acknowledge, then it is called that image, and then you organize that in this slide. So from wherever you downloaded, that you can cite the image, and then the organization is yours. This chart, the way you made that is your work that you have done. So that also is good work. That all two characters, and below that it is a good way of presenting the thing. So that this way you can be novel in presenting the things, not only putting text. Some of you are just bringing text paragraph after paragraph, and that also very distorted manner. That is not known as presentation. Slides should be organized, which it looks good also. Aesthetics of the slides are also very important. and valuable content also should be there. Okay, so this you have prepared in Canva and then you have brought here. Now that is why we are not able to search this. So when I want to search, like where you have cited this Maggie, whether it is in text anywhere or not, but no, it is showing only one result. So that is not possible to be done. So when you put a graphic, you bring from that, it is okay. But when you have to write something, you have to type in the slides. Today morning also I have seen in, I think, Bhumiba's presentation also, the same kind of structure was there. There were images. So images are not searchable. And that is why you can't use this feature to see where you have cited this. These images are dead images. They are not searchable. So then it is very difficult to very quickly observe the thing. So you have to do combination of two things. One image, if you prepare in Canva, you can bring, and then somewhere you write the source, whichever it is cited. So below it, sidewise, you have to write the parent in parenthesis. Parenthesis means comma. This bracket we call it parenthesis. The right word for that is parenthesis, not the square bracket, but that half circular bracket is called parenthesis. So the parenthesis should be brought. That is not possible to be seen in this. So this way, this idea is disturbing. It's a good idea that in image you prepare in Canva or other things, because in Google Slides things are distorted. I've seen that in Google Slides, if you're prepared in somewhere else and when it comes here, it is distorted. So it is a good idea that you prepare image and you present this. But somewhere at the bottom, you can keep one line open where you type the things. That is the source should be typed, so that when somebody is doing search, Control F, and I give the word, then it can lead me to that slide also. That here is the source from this that is mentioned there. That way you'll have to sort it out this. Okay, let us have the next presentation.
Good evening, everyone. I am Yesraj Soda. Today, I am going to discuss about the influence of Greek mythology on Keats' poetry. This is my personal information. And now, first, we discussed basic idea about the Keats. Keats was born on 31st October 1795 in London, England. Died on 23rd February 1821, Rome, Papal State. Age 25. Period we call the Romantic period. He is a Romantic poet, as we know him. Notable works we find Endymion, Hyperion, La Belle Dame sans Mercy, Ode to Psyche, and movement he has contributed his work. It was Romanticism. The Greek mythology in the history of encyclopedia. Thomas Cartwright and Mary Carpenter has mentioned this information. The Greek mythology was used as the means to explain the environment in which humankind lived and natural phenomena they witnessed, and the passing of the time through the days, months, and seasons, whatever they have lived and whatever they have learned. In the Greek mythology, Greek gods, we find that Greek myths gave faces and characters to the gods of the Greek religion, but they have also gave people helpful practical advice on the best way to lead a happy life. There are the gods in it. It is mythical, but in the real life also it gives us the motivation to live. As we know the story of Prometheus, we know that he has bring the fire from the god. So he has done something good to the humanity. For he has to give something for his on sake also. He has to sacrifice his pain and all the types of things for humankind. So we also find this type of thing in Greek mythology. In the article Chaprasi, Muhammad Chaprasi mentioned this information that how Keats was from the very beginning was influenced by this Greek mythology. Keats has the inborn love for Greek impetus, their religion and joy. As a student, he composed a prose translation of Virgil's work, Aeneid. A little later, he read Homer's Greek epic Iliad and was thrilled by its beauty. So, from the very he was a student in the schooling time, he was also reading the Greek mythology, and then he develops the love for Greek mythology. His passion and excitement are expressed deeply in his sonnet on first looking into Chapman's Homer. He has also written one little poem about describing the how he likes about the Greek mythology and the work he has been reading. Three books which Keats possessed as the student and enjoyed a lot deeply are Tocque's Pantheon, Lempiras Classical Dictionary, and the great Spencer Polymeric, which provided him the further insight into classical art and literature. Then he develops more interest in the literature. This article named was the study of the Keats' interest in the poetry. I forgot the name, perfect name, but it was there. And now the first poem, the Ode to Psyche. Here are some stanza is there from the poem. O goddess, hear these tuneless numbers wrung by sweet enforcement and resemblance dear, and pardon that thy secrets should be sung even into own soft conch ear. In the Keats, he writes in the poetry, in the opening stanza, Keats invokes the Greek goddess Psyche, addressing her the divine presence. Her presence is everywhere, and we are living in the influence of this goddess. He acknowledges the audacity of the singing of her secrets of her own ears. This reflects the reverence and the fascination that Keats has for the mythological characters. That shows the love for mythological characters of Keats. The second poem we are going to, that is influenced by the Greek mythology, Ode on Grecian urn. Here are some stanza is put at there. The poem is centered around the ancient Grecian urn. You can find the photograph here, the Grecian urn, which is described as a piece of art adorned with the various scenes and figures. Keats explores the idea of individual's beauty, which is the concept was often associated with ancient Greek art and philosophy. In the every side of the urn, we find the different pictures are incarnated from the Greek mythology. So we find the stories and how they used to live the life. So when Keats sees this gun, writes this poem. The poem references the Greek mythology with allusion to god of love, Eros, and Greek town of Arcadia. We find that in Grecian poem. In the third novel, Endymion, from the Endymion, book 1, there are 3 books poem which is written by Keats. So it is the story of the Endymion, who is the lover of Selene, the Greek goddess. The titles come from the classical Greek myth about the moon of goddess Selene, who falls in love with a young, handsome Aeolian shepherd, a king of Olympia named Endymion. Endymion is the name of the Greek goddess's lover. Keats uses vivid and sensual imagery throughout the poem, reminiscence of the rich description found in the classical Greek poetry. We find that he dig deeper into the Greek characters and how they like to be in the end. So in the conclusion, we find the perfection of form and the beauty of shape, the purity and preciousness of outline, restraint and reserve associated with the Greek are found in Keats' poetry. Keats said very goodly elaborated the Greek mythology in his poetry. Keats has dealt with themes, subjects, and situations related to the ancient Greek mythology and literature. He has involved this type of literature also in the Greek mythology. The whole universe of classical Greece has become more alive, animated, and vivid in his poems. We find that we are living in the time period, and the Greek literature, Greek poets, Greek things are more alive, become more alive when we read Keats' poetry. his art, his poetry is for the sake of poetry, just nothing for us. He's just writing this type of poetry for his own love for the Greek mythology. He is in no doubt envisaged as an English Greek in all age. English Greek poet. He is writing English poetry by the influence of Greek. So he merging the two dimension of language as well as the different cultures as well. Keats was no doubt Greek in spirit, but surely has a romantic exuberance. As we know, he is a romantic poet, but still he is bringing something from the classic mythology and elaborating the poetry in a very good manner. In his poetry, we find a rare combination of classicism as well as the romanticism. Here, the classicism means that he is bringing classical ideas in his poetry, not the writing style, but the new ideas that he brings from the Greek mythology, he loves a lot. Here are the references. You can do further, get further information by that. Thank you. This is from my side. Now you can ask me a question. Ask questions.
Yes, Raj, my question is how does Keats use Greek mythological imagery to convey his ideas about nature and the human experience in his poem?
Okay, Trupti. In Greek mythology, imaginary, we find that Grecian urn, when he sees this Grecian urn, and he is also describing the Psyche, which is the Greek goddesses. So he described the beauty in his poetry, and he is also describing what type of things are doing in the urn that is incarnated by the in the Greek times period of time, how they people live, how they like to be. And in Endymion, we find that how the love affair of the goddesses and the Endymion find the interest and how they get together. That we also find, and nature we also find how the Greek people live and how the live they move ahead in his time. And human experiences we also find in the different types of poems, as we have discussed this Endymion, Grecian urn, and the other poem, Ode to the Psyche. So yes, next question.
Yes, Yash, did Keats' interpretation of Greek mythology differ from that if his contemporaries, and if so, how?
Yes, we can say Greek. Also, in other poets, we also find the Greek influence, but in Keats' poetry, we find that it is more influenced by the Greek poetry, and it is differ from the other poets. Like in the Romantic period, we find that Wordsworth and Coleridge, Shelley and Byron, they are also writing their nature poems. But in the this Keats' poetry, we find the very new thing, which is bringing the new characteristic of Greek mythology into his poetry. So he somehow differs from the other romantic poets, while he is contributing, he is including the Greek mythology in his poetry, and he's portraying is like for his own sake, not for writing a poetry, but whatever he likes, he tries to describe in his poetry. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, so let me give a quick feedback. So, as we were talking previously about this citation part, in the last one, we have a good example in Yash Raj's presentation. So, there are this is the list of presentations, and when we try to see whether Cartwright, the first one is Cartwright, is cited properly or not. So it takes to inside. Now you can see there in parenthesis, you will find Cartwright and Carpenter. So it means this part is taken from that article. That is how we can match. Now you can check and see whether it is appropriately done or not. So the purpose is this, that in text where it is, and at the end you make reference, long list of reference where anybody can go to that particular website to see whether things are properly done or not. So 2 times you find, so it is there. Then another one is Arif Muhammad Chaprasi. So it goes to another slide when you search. That is the quick way of searching. Now images are not helping in this. When you put images, then this is a problem. So at least the citation part, you'll have to put down somewhere in the slide where it is searchable within the presentation. Then there are many references to Keats. You see 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 works are cited. Ode to Grecian Urn 2 times, Psyche, and Psyche, and then Endymion is there. So in this case, what is happening here is everywhere you find Keats. Now, still to clarify more, when the same writer is cited several times, repeatedly, not only one, but several times, but it is not cited from the same work. The work is changing, but the writer is same. So then Keats, comma, name of the work, and then parenthesis. So one can relate this citation for the Keats is second one, or third one, or fourth one. Otherwise, whether this Keats is first, second, or third, or fourth, how can we know? So when one writer who has written 2, 3 works, maybe research article also. Here there are poems. It may be research articles also. So if you are citing 3 research articles from same writer, then you have to differentiate that this and this title from where it is taken. Or sometimes article titles are very long. Research articles titles are very long. So people use the year. That is why year marker also is given in this. Year also is mentioned. So you use Keats this year. So you can say that, okay, this citation is for this. So very long 2, 3 lines of title is not used. Either short forms are used. So many times people go for another option of making short forms of the title, far from the madding crowd. If it is, then we will make it FFMC, and that way it will be cited. So, and you put one page where you say shortcuts or abbreviations used in the presentation. Abbreviations, that is listed there, and you put abbreviations rather than a very long title of this. Okay, but here you find appropriate way that it is done. Things are presented in a proper order in this. Okay, in other works, let me quickly give you the overview. So last this Unnati we have seen, Trupti also. We have seen that how you can do that. SHRUTI was talking about as a novelist. Some concerns are there about citation and other things that you need to take care of. Then RIYA was citing RIYA's article. She has taken topic from one article. Let me share a screen. No, that is not there. It was written by Rachel Villiasis on psychology. That was on psychology, and that was maybe this one. This is it is Emergence of Psychology, which you have taken as a title also. So you need to go equally in deep manner that how or what psychological aspects, like what was the psychology of the day. That is what this writer, Rachel Villiers, is. This seems to be the college work, maybe as a part of student thesis. This was submitted maybe at UG level. It requires. The work is good, of good quality. But what you have referred from this is not up to the mark. In this, there is more detailed study about the psychology of the day and how it influenced her narrative, and that was lacking in your thing. So this is how we see that what you are citing, whether you have thoroughly understood that concept and brought the gems from that or not. You have to bring the gems. You can't bring the entire write-up, but what are you bringing from that resource can be verified in this capacity. Okay, then RESHMA presented on this Ozymandias. This is what you have cited also. Postponement and prospective. This is a good resource worth reading also. But in one of the slides where you're talking about tyranny doesn't have anything about this. That slide and this, there are reference of tyranny couple of times in this article, but you have not taken that. So 3 times the word tyranny comes in this article, but none of those quote was used in your thing. Had it been, then you are talking that tyrannical thing from this article and you are connecting, but it was not so. So that way you have cited good source, but you have not used it properly in your thing. You reach to a right place. એટલે આપણે પાણીને કાંઠે પહોંચી ગયા, તળાવને કાંઠે પાણી પી ન શીખા બરાબર, પીવાનું રહી ગયું પાછું એમાં. એટલે એ કે you reached at the right place, but the other thing, because there are other very easy material available. બીજા blog writers છે, એ બધાનું બહુ easy હોય, આપણને સમજે એટલે આપણે એનું તફડાવી લઈએ, સાઇટેશન ઊંચું ઊંચું કરીએ, લઈએ ક્યાંક સસ્તામાંથી. એટલે એ રીતે that can be caught, that title, citation and the content is not matching with each other, but it is a good source which can be cited, and a good article is this is worth reading. Priyanshi's topic was good about Paradise Lost, another thing, but you are still citing cliff notes, another thing which should be avoided from citation. Pallavi also made a good presentation. It was well cited also, Bride and Prejudice, and all the content in text, and that was well cited. Also, the resources were well mentioned. Nanda was talking about science and nature. Your concluding slide had this problem. You, in your concluding slide, you mentioned that if I have kept it open. This is KINJAL. I have not kept it open. In that you mentioned that science and nature are not topics that should be combined together, because there are complications that could happen that could result in disaster. There is error, but it is good that you might have written on your own. આવી ભૂલ થી એમ ખ્યાલ આવે કે તમે જાતે લખ્યું હશે. સાવ ભૂલ વગરનું આવે તો એમ થાય કે આ કોપી પેસ્ટ કર્યું હશે. So normal mistakes are good enough. There is no problem. You can correct this. But this, that it could lead to disaster. So these two topics should not be matched together. This is problematic because it is not giving 360-degree way of looking at the things. If you, for example, see this, if you just search artificial limbs and how it has given happiness to people. When science has come to help and give artificial limbs, that is what Victor is doing, taking limbs from other part and attaching. Today, artificial limbs is giving a tremendous amount of happiness to people, successful. And there is a very interesting case of Mansi Joshi, who is a badminton player. You'll see that with one leg, but she is playing. That is this Para-Olympics, lot of sports events and other thing also. So this is giving happiness. So when science and nature joins hands, it gives happiness also. So we can't conclude in a way that it is always dangerous only. It is not so, because how can she play otherwise? આપણે ભલે હાથ પગ બધું હોય તો આપણે રમીએ નહીં, એ વસ્તુ જુદી છે, વહેલા ઉઠીને ક્યાંક રમવા જવું જોઈએ કે નહીં. આ બધા એનો ઉપયોગ કરે એને રમવું છે. એક પગ કપાઈ ગયો છે અકસ્માતમાં, તો હવે કોણ મદદ કરે? ફ્રેન્કેનસ્ટાઈન મદદ કરે. એ પ્રકારની જેની ઈચ્છા છે કે મારે લોકોને ખુશ કરવા છે, ભલે નેચરની સામે. નેચરે કુદરત એવું લખ્યું હોય કે આને અપંગ કરી દો, આ ક્યાંય રમવા ન જાય. વિધાતા એવું લખ્યું હશે ને કદાચ, અને એટલે તો પગ કપાઈ ગયો હોય તો યુ ફાઇટ અગેન્સ્ટ નેચર. કેપિટલ N એટલે ડિવિનિટી થઈ જાય, કુદરત એટલે વિધાતા થઈ જાય. તો એની સામે લડનારા લોકો આપણને ખુશી આપી છે. That should not be avoided when we conclude the final things. Okay, KINJAL referred to this negative capacity. This was a good article that you referred to, but again, not very well things were connected in your, because this is a rather difficult concept. Negative capability is not that easy that everybody can understand. But if you read this article by Nathan Comfort Starr on JSTOR, it may help you. And this article refers to several lines also from the poems. This is actually coming from a letter written by, which was referred in the presentation also, letter he wrote. So there were this all lines he is talking about. So this you have to bring also, that where actually things get reflected, Endymion and how. So what is the thing? So are you able to pick up gems from the article or not? That is very important. એના માટે આ આર્ટિકલ વાંચવો પડે. એ વાંચી એટલે 3-4 કલાક બગડે, માથું ચડી જાય. આર્ટિકલ વાંચવા બેસો એટલે તમારું ચક્કર ભમર થવા માંડે. આપણે એટલી પેશન્સ ના હોય કે એટલું કોન્સન્ટ્રેટ, કારણ કે એ આર્ટિકલ પૂરો થાય ત્યારે કંઈક એમાં સમજાય. ત્યાં સુધી કંઈ બધું સમજાય નહીં, ટપા જ ન પડે, બધા બાઉન્સ જતા હોય. પછી કંઈક આવે કે બધું કનેક્ટ થાય અને કંઈક સમજ પડે એમાં. એટલે it is not easy to read article and grab information from that. એટલે એવો આગ્રહ રાખીએ કે તમે આ સમયે કરો, પ્રેક્ટિસ કરો. આર્ટિકલ્સ વાંચવાનું થોડું ઘણું એમાંથી લો. શું લો છો એ ખ્યાલ આવે. નથી લઈ શકતા તો કહી શકીએ અમે કે still you are reaching to a good source but not able to pick up the gems from there. So this way lines and other things are given where it explains how negative capability can be understood from this. KHUSHI, we have informed you in the beginning part about whatever things were lacking. Okay, so with this, let us end. Now we have a break for a couple of days. Youth festival things are there, though you won't be completely free. Also observing and preparing yourself to write a blog on the things which are there. And then on 8th, we will meet again for last 2 presentations, 8th, and those who are facing technical problems, you have to do rehearsals and see that no help will be provided. You have to work on your own only, on the technical aspect of handling StreamYard, opening Google Classroom, then opening presentation in Google Slides. At a time, you are working on 3-4 technologies. You are doing multitasking. એક તો પેલી ચિંતા હોય બોલવાની, અને એમાં આ પાછું ભારેખમ કામ નાનું મોટું કરવાનું. એટલે your mental capacities are growing when you do this. If you have done earlier, you are relaxed. ક્યારે ન કર્યું હોય આ રીતે એક સાથે અનેક કામ તો આપણે થોડા ટેન્સ રહીએ. But practice will help you કે હવે પછી આવી સ્થિતિ ઊભી થાય તો આપણે રિલેક્સ રીતે એક સાથે 5 કામને ઉપર હાથ અજમાવી શકીએ. આપણો હાથ કંઈક જુદું કરે, માઇન્ડ કંઈક જુદું કરે, એ બધું આપણે કરી શકતા હોઈએ છીએ. Okay, so we end our session here.